Hi, Shadow. That's fine. I'm going to get started now, so I want to try and at least get a couple of runs in. Right. Is it that? There we go. Okay. Alright. Let's go. Ready to go in 3, 2, 1. Suppose I should try and be more commentary focused tonight, but let's give it a go. 3, 2, 1. And we are going. Welcome everyone to Worldless. Hello, I am Lady Smaell, and I am a runner of this game. Let's just put it like that. So, as you can already see, it's quite a stylized, vector minimalistic game. It's quite beautiful in its simplicity. It's a 2D Metroidvania with some unique combat elements, shall we say. Yeah, this is a tutorial area where it just teaches you the basics of the platforming, like jump up the platforms, move left and right. And we are playing as our protagonist, Edda. So this game is basically set just after like a big bang, should we say? And the entity that has created that big bang has created these sort of opposite factions, and they're at war with each other for supremacy, I'm guessing. So yeah, we're just gonna continue through the tutorial area, getting right to the top, and we're going to run into our rival. And our rival's name is Avon. So this is kind of a scripted fight, so I'm not going to do much right now. I'm just going to let Avon beat me up. There's not a lot you can do. You want him to get the bar in the bottom left corner full as fast as possible to progress the story. So it just moves a little bit forward there by going to attack. So you can see it's sort of a turn-based combat system, which is a bit unique for a Metroidvania. And Avon's just tried to absorb us. And we've sort of had this clash, and we've somehow transcended, combined, and it basically caused the well to expand, which is kind of cool. So now our map is being drawn, essentially. So we're going into a cutscene here, and this gentleman is one of the old ones in the game. And basically what happened between Edda and Avon's kind of unusual. And they're just like, how on earth did that happen? How did you do that? Basically calling us foolish and young, and yeah. So you might have noticed the language is in Chinese, and I am clearly not speaking Chinese. So that is because, like a lot of games, sort of the Chinese and Japanese, the language is faster because it must just take less time to render on screen because of the way it's shaped and that, which is nice for speedrunning. Not so nice for casual if you don't speak Chinese, because you need to know what the abilities are, and it doesn't exactly tell you that. Okay. So we've just been shown how to open our map and where our next objective is. So we're basically chasing Avon now because we need to know what the heck happened between us. So yeah, so going into our first area. So we're in our major hub there. There's doors to each of the different sections. Now, the whole world is actually interconnected. You don't actually have to use the hub world, except out of like mandatory stuff. You can like run between like sections, which is really cool. It is very beautiful. There's a lovely image of the world map. So first fight. So this is actually quite tricky because the game doesn't actually want you to absorb this. So as you can see, there are blocks. That's bad, but oh well. Anyway, so you have an attack turn and a defense turn. On your attack turn, you can obviously go in and do damage and absorption damage. There's two different bars. There's a HP bar and an absorption bar. The aim of the game, or at least for the first part, is to absorb as fast as possible because the absorptions are what gives you your skill point. So orange enemies don't actually have blue enemies, sorry. Okay, that was a lovely pattern. Blue enemies don't have HP, they just have absorption, whereas orange have absorption and HP. So they tend to be the trickier enemies because you don't want to kill them. You want to absorb them, so it can be a bit tricky. And so your attack turns, you have physical attacks, magical attacks. And defense, you have with Edda, you have a defensive shield for physical attacks and a defensive shield for magical attacks. And we're going to get our first movement ability now, which is the dash. So let's go dash. So this allows us a really wide range of movement. You can dash, obviously. So that was a bit of a mistake. Oh well. I don't know why the dash didn't work there. It should have. It was definitely charged. Whoa, what is going on? So yeah, there is a cooldown between the dashes. And not all enemies we fight. Some of them we do just pick up off the ground, which is lovely. There we go. So yeah, as stated, it gives us a good range of movement. Like speeds us up quite a lot. You get a good amount of distance off a dash. Okay. So you may have noticed earlier I picked up like a grey rectangle. So we're going to get our fourth one of them very shortly. They increase your battle times, the time you have in each of your attack turns, and so on and so forth. So the more time you have, obviously, the more damage you can do. But obviously, the more time you have, the longer the turn is. So it's a case of balancing attack time and what's viably optimal. So that's the only pickup we get for that. We only get one time pickup, which is more than enough to do every enemy in the game that we need to do. I mean, sometimes it would be nice if we had a little bit more, but it's not needed necessarily. So we completed our first area, we're back in our hub. So not all the gates are open, as you can see, so we have to manually activate them by passing through the area into another area. As stated earlier, like everything's interconnected and it's really nice. This game's also really chill to play. It's just very nice, relaxing, nice chill music. So yeah, we're now in the area I call Green Path. And the gimmick of this area is these little keystones give you pawls. See if we can get it. Nice, got a 1 round. Very nice. That one's quite tricky. So anything below, like, there's no rhyme or reason to... That's a little bit on... Really? Never done that before. There's no rhyme or reason to the patterns. They are completely random. So there is that lovely random element in the game. So yeah, we're just gonna... The game wants us to go up there, we're not going to. We're going to do a little skip. So it wants us to go that way and get an ability, which we're not going to get, which can potentially become a little bit detrimental later, but hopefully it won't be. What am I doing? I'm thinking I'm further ahead than I am there. Okay. Much better. Alright. So, like Dark Souls, this game has... So when you saw there, when I defended, I got a big beautiful star. So that's a perfect parry. If you perfect parry, you don't lose any shield strength. There we go. See if we get lucky. Didn't get lucky. Oh well, that's fine. Like I said, if you've got 2 inputs, it's really difficult to try and figure out the rest, but every input except the one I wanted, of course. So yeah, there's a very much a random element of chance. Okay. Doing another little skip here. Well, don't really want to wait for portals if we don't have to. Just going to skip it there. Okay. Like, with mistakes, that's not too bad in all fairness. There was some bad mistakes there. Okay. So we got our next movement ability, which is clearly the speed tech. It's the sprint. So this is the fastest form of movement in the game. Only Edda is obviously allergic to water, so she can't go on the water, but she can run across it, and that works out very nicely. There are a few little weird nuances with it. If you do it like get a coyote jump, essentially, it gives you a slightly faster animation, so it is fractionally quicker. Okay, so I'm going to do something we call summon skip here. So we used to think this was a scripted fight and you had to wait around, but we discovered a way to trigger that cutscene quicker. So that was a very specific set of inputs I did, and it makes that cutscene trigger quicker rather than waiting around an extra round, which is lovely. It saves about like 10 seconds. You have to go through your entire turn and then the crabby monster's entire turn, so it saves like 10 seconds overall. getting that early cutscene. So here we go, moving into our first interconnected area. So this is the tower. Unfortunately, we don't see much of it in any percent, which is a real shame because it's an exceptionally cool area with some of the coolest enemies in the game and the most difficult. I didn't do that. I definitely pushed up, game. I definitely need a new controller. Whoops. Okay. So this guy's a jerk. Mainly because he does this. So windshield. Alright, did we get lucky? Nice, got lucky. That's very difficult to get on that phase. Because you have, again, it's the 2 input thing. You end up with a very small window to figure out 2 completely random inputs. With no, like, reason to what the pattern might be. We're just gonna get our second piece here. So the gimmick in this area is we have upwards water, which, as previously stated, Edda is definitely allergic to water. And we have caught up with Avon. So there are actually 2 ways you can go about this fight. You can fight him and get rid of his health bar. But it's much quicker just to talk to him. You talk to each other, that fight's over way quicker, and you get a slightly different cutscene. So if you fight him, the cutscene here where she's just walking over to him, she has her sword drawn. And now we have control of our second protagonist. We are now controlling Avon. So Avon's going to be our main fighter from now on. He's not got as much movement. He's more vertical because he has double jump, but he doesn't have any of the speed move that Edda does, except. But he has a wider range of battle abilities. So the game sort of assumes you've got certain abilities at this point and gives you Avon's counterpart, which is super nice. Which we are going to look at now. Abilities, game, lagging, come on. So we're getting a few upgrades. We're getting his techniques, his charged whip, a whip technique, and something called deflect and assimilation, which all sounds really, really complicated. So deflect is Avon's defense ability. He doesn't have a shield like Edda does, but he has the ability to reflect damage back as absorption damage, which is the way you get destroy the enemy in this game. So you'll see here the deflect. Okay. That was a little slow. You ideally want to do that in 1 round, but it is what it is. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, especially if you mess up the timing on the attack. This is still pretty decent. Yeah, so we've reunited and now we are expanding the map because we've sort of reunited and accepted the fact that things have gone a bit weird. And I've still saved time somehow. That's really nice. And now we have the ability to switch between our 2 protagonists, which gives some really, really nice movement. So yeah, you can switch in, just go for the double jump into the dash and vice versa. Fortunately, there's nothing too broken, which is a bit sad, really. Okay, didn't get on that platform. That was weird. Okay. Okay. Okay, so if you manage to fill the bar fully, you automatically absorb and don't have to do any input. Which, if you could do for more enemies, would be super lovely, but unfortunately we can't. Okay, so now is when the shenanigans begin. Okay, so we recently, well, I say I recently started doing a new route because I figured out something was a bit quicker, like nearly a minute quicker, but it's a lot more risky than it used to be, so hopefully it won't go wrong. Hopefully it'll all go smooth. So yeah, we're just talking to our old one. He's like, what have you done? How have you done that? Madness, blah, blah, blah. So we used to come to this area second after we'd reunited. But there's a very good reason why we don't, well, I don't anymore. Let's see if it all goes nice for me today. So we're going to fight the first of the, what we call the transcended bosses. Okay, that's a good start. Really good. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. Again, not wait around for portals if we don't have to. So it wants you to go a different route, but it wants you to come up here and then go up. But we found a back door into the boss and it's a bit quicker. That's not what I did, but thank you, game. So in the current patch of this game, this is patched out. You cannot reach it this way. So we're using the beta patch that Coatsink and No Name have very kindly left in. Right, a quick bit of ability buy-in. I want Edda to have teleport, which means that the first attack's really quick. It just makes life a bit easier. Yeah, okay. So this is our first transcendent boss. This is Bipolar. And he's not too bad. So as you can see, I'm making like really good use of the charge whip. That nice, he's giving me a good pattern. Okay, this is really good. That was really nice. Okay. Nice. That's good. That was actually a really good bipolar. So now we're going to go down. A very clean descent. Lovely. Okay, so the reason we go to bipolar first now is because of this, the boss we're going to now, who's called Adaptation. And yeah, he's a bit of a jerk. So, you know how Super Metroid has Phantoon? So, like, the RNG boss? This is this game's Phantoon. It is pure RNG. And I mentioned earlier that we missed an ability. This is where that ability potentially comes into play. So we did not get the ice spell for Edda. And he has elemental shields as part of his phase 1. And if he comes up with ice, it's an instant reset. For the fight, at least. Like, luckily you can reset the fight quickly, but it's just, yeah, it's time lost straight away. So I guess we'll see how it goes. We just got Edda's bow, which is lovely. That's her equivalent to Avon's whip. Just gonna do a little bit of traversal. There we go. Obviously, when you drop this, there's full stun animations, which you don't want really. So double jump's really handy in that regard. For you time it right at the bottom, you don't have to worry about it. Make sure I get this jump right. A little bit of puzzling. Okay, let's see how we do. Let's see if Adaptation is kind to us. Probably not. He's never kind. He is mean. He's a proper mean. Fine. Okay, that'll do. Oh my god, what sticky buttons? Okay, so we're getting our last movement ability, which is called Snatch. I affectionately call it Eagle Shot or Bash. They're very similar to both of those abilities from Ori and Guacamelee, respectively. And it's got some really fun movement. Unfortunately, nothing we can super abuse, which is, again, kind of disappointing. But it is what it is. It's still really satisfying to play around with. Oh yeah, and double jumping for Avon is faster than walking. Okay, so I'm gonna get through this section. Just gonna pay attention because my dashes have not been on point tonight, and I want to make sure I actually don't miss this. There we go, fine. All right, let's get our last abilities. So we want big pointy sword, and that's it. And he's given us ice. There we go. That's the ability you don't want to see. That is the shield you do not want to see. That's better. fine. Okay. Alright. Big shiny sword, let's go. Please, 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 physical. Let's go. Okay. I didn't get the bow techniques. I've just messed up. I've just messed up. I knew there was something I had to get. Whereas, like, I've got orange there. Why have I got orange? So yeah, that's what's meant to happen. I kind of messed up though. My bad. And now he's giving us loads of ice. That's a little bit sad. Had a good setup there. That's my fault entirely. Kind of believe what's with the bow technique. Get. Well, that was purely my fault. But we're going to carry on. We've got a little bit of time to save in the next area. And if nothing else, this is a good warm-up run. So there are like said that either can't go in the water, it automatically like spawns you on the next nearest like sort of or the last landmass you were in. You can abuse it in that regard. Normally it's for you back to where you've just been, but okay, right. What am I after? What's this? Wow, that was bad. There we go. Not ideal, but all right. This is my favorite fight in the game. This is Halo, and he's mean. He's very much the skill check of this game. Disagree game, but nice. That wasn't too bad. That was good. Okay. Okay, that's fine. And got him. Right. That was not a bad Halo. That was pretty good. So he's very much a skill check for players, casually, because he's the first fight you get that has a dual phase. There are only a couple of... You can encounter him really, really early on once you've got sprint. Yeah. So I've done one of the only glitches in the game that's been found. It has unfortunately been patched in the newer versions, but this whole area is supposed to be shrouded in complete darkness. And yeah, that just skips the trigger. Brill. Okay. Also, I don't like this enemy. This enemy's mean as well. Okay, he's getting caught now. Cool. That was a good fight. Okay, and go. What is going on? Like, what is... It's not registering my controls at all. Oh. I pushed that button. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't exactly pick up correctly what you've just done. It's not the best sometimes. But that was totally me. Whoopsies. All right, so. Okay, thank you for not giving me sprint. Much appreciated. Let's do a little bit of setup here. So, I want you. And I want you. And I want you. And I need that one. Okay. Hopefully we're all set up for this. That's really nice. Got 2 techniques already. Fine. Yeah, fine. Okay. Disagree a little bit there, game. Definitely disagree with that. That wasn't fair. You hit him with his weakness. Fine. Okay. Right. I'm gonna leave it there. Alright, let's go again. Let's go again. That was a good start. Just some poor play in the middle. Nice beverage. Gotta stay hydrated. Okay. Okay. Alright, let's get it going quickly. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Should be warmed up now. Got to remember to get bow techniques. Oh my god. Like, it's not hard. Anyway, right. So welcome to Worldless. This is a lovely, lovely, lovely 2D minimalist Metroidvania. Sorry, minimalist styled Metroidvania by No Name Studio and Kutzink, who are from Spain and they're super lovely. Very, very active. Like, the community person, Esther's really lovely and very, very good and just keeps answers all our random questions about literally everything from frame rates to character lore, and yeah, they're super amazing. Speaking of lore, we are technically in a big bang, or we've just come after a big bang. Maybe not the big bang, but a big bang. And as you can see in the background, there's blue and orange lights, or beings in this case. And yeah, they're opposing factions. So we're just running through this tutorial area. You can see one more clearly in the background there. Just running through this tutorial area, which teaches you how to do the jumps and just general movement. So we're just running through. Just keeping hop short, because jumps are a little bit slower than walking in this, so we want to try and keep jumps to a minimum. So as you can see, it's turn-based combat. So all the fights in the game are turn-based. You have actions that you can do on each turn. At this minute, I'm not going to do anything because it's technically slower. But you will get to see what a proper fight looks like in a few minutes. So we're fighting off against our rival, who is Avon. He's our counterpart, clearly. So we're just letting him beat him up till the bar in the bottom left corner is full. And he just tried to absorb us, which is to sort of steal our essence, essentially, to get stronger. And obviously, that hasn't gone to plan. We somehow sort of collided and sort of absorbed each other a little bit. It's the only way I can really describe it. And through our, essentially the game sort of recognizes it as a type of transcendence, we've created the game world, which is kind of neat. This is our map unfolding right now. So like the first 5 or so minutes of the game's tutorials and stuff like that. There is a obviously that section would have little prompts, but there is a accessibility option where you can just turn off tutorial prompts, which is brilliant for speedrun modes. So now we are getting introduced to the old one, or one of the old ones. He's been around since before the Big Bang. So whatever entity created the Big Bang, he was there before them. He's been there before. And he must sort of, they live in the void between, sort of. And he's teaching us how to speak, basically, and how to interact with the world. He's also kind of jealous that the entity that created the Big Bang in this regard has taken notice of what happened. And he's just like, I don't understand why have they noticed you? Why are they looking at you? Also, you may have noticed the language is in Chinese, and I am very clearly not speaking Chinese. That is because, like a lot of games, Chinese and Japanese are faster. It's not like, well, it's a reasonable difference. Like just in that cutscene alone, it's about 3 or 4 seconds. So there's not many cutscenes in this game where there's talking, but it does help in those situations. So we're going to head into our first section. So you notice we're in a hub area there with multiple doors. The whole world is interconnected. You could theoretically run through the whole game without using a hub area, but there are some doors that are not yet open. So they only open once you've gone into the area itself and opened it. So here's our first real fight. So this is the physical tutorial boss that teaches you about physical guards. And it kind of doesn't expect you to absorb it, but you can, if you know what you're doing. That's a nice start. So yeah, so that teaches you about physical guards. So there's in the turn base, there's an attack turn and a defense turn. In the defense turn, Edda can defend herself with her shields. She has a physical shield for physical attack and a magical shield for magical attack. So the attacks are denoted by lines. So a horizontal line is a physical and a vertical line is a magical, which we will see now with Moon. So Moon uses magic. And we should have a full. Okay, so you may notice that the blue enemies don't have a health bar. They only have that sort of absorption bar, and that's true for all the blue enemies. Whereas the orange and black enemies, they have a health bar and an absorption bar, so they're a bit trickier to absorb. Okay, so we're going to get our first movement tech now, which is the dash ability. I'm gonna casually stroll along here and sort of try and talk to this old one. So brilliant. Okay. So as you can see, the dash has got quite a lot of utility. It's like an extra jump. It's really, really handy for movement in general, just speedier. Gets you over large gaps. It's really nice. Super duper lovely. Oh, I didn't think I had that jump. That one's a very scary jump. If you mess it up, you drop right down to the bottom from where you just jumped up, climbed up from. So yeah, it's a bit dicey. I call it the squeaky bum jump because every time it happens, like my whole body clenches because I'm just like, oh. I feel like one of those, like when you see grandparents playing on a console and they like hold the controller and move it, hoping to move the character a bit quicker. That's very much what happens. Yeah, that jump's always a bit scary. So we're just sort of traversing up here. It does want you to interact with those little dots, but if you know what you're doing with the dash, you don't really need to a lot of the time. So you've just seen I've picked up a power-up or an upgrade. So that's in time for your attack turns. So we only get one of them in any percent. We only need the one. I mean, it's always nice to have more time, but you don't necessarily need it. But one's just like a perfect amount of just gives you enough just to get stuff done in the fight. It's still, some of the fights are still pretty dicey, but we try to do the best we can to sort of figure it out. Oh, and yeah, if you're thinking, oh, it's fine, like, I don't know why it'd be dicey. You probably know all the inputs. Nope, the inputs are all completely randomized at the start of every run, and you have no clue what they're going to be. So this area's gimmick is those keystones and the portals. Cool, got the 3. Nice. Okay, let's see if we got it. Got it. Nice. 1 round. Well, I say 1 round. As close to a 1 round as you can get on that. So, as you can see, the portals just fire around the area. It's quite fun. It is quite fun to do. So, it wants you to go up here, but we're not going to do that because that's slow. It wants you to go up and get an ability, which we're not doing. But that ability is the ice spell, and that can potentially be a bit detrimental later on. But we'll get to that. I'll explain why that's detrimental a bit later when we get to it. But right now we're going to take on the fire elemental. So you might be seeing that when I'm defending, I'm getting like stars. So that means I've done it a perfect parry. There we go. Very, very scary. Nice, got a 1 round there as well. So without ice, you can't break that shield unless he, you know, does that big attack on you. So getting a 1 round after that big attack's really good. Whoa, okay. That was weird. Never done that before. So yeah, we're just going to sort of run along. And again, we just don't really want to wait around too long for portals, so we're just going to cheat a little bit and save a bit of time. Okay. Nice little bit of cutscene, a bit more storytelling. So we're going to get our second movement ability. Probably the best movement ability in the game, to be fair. So we got sprint. As the name suggests, you sprint really fast. Don't know why I jumped, that was a bit weird. But yeah, it allows you to run across the top of the water. As you saw before, Ed is kind of allergic to water and it just respawns you on the last bit of solid land. It can be manipulated in some places to get you a little bit further forward than you were. But for the most part, it's not what you want. So yeah, we're going to just keep running through. We're heading through to a new area. I'm going to have one last fight in this section. And it's kind of a cutscene boss. Well, a cutscene fight. But I'm going to do something very specific. Which doesn't look like much. But it skips an entire round of the fight. Because our friend Summon comes in. And he's a big green dragon. And he destroys that poor fellow. You used to have to wait around for an extra round for that until we figured out the pattern to get it to trigger early. Okay, nice. So that was like a saves 10 seconds now on what we used to be able to get. So, you know, it's not an insignificant gain. So we're just running through. Now, I really wish we visited this area more in any percent, but we just don't. we call it the tower, and it's home to some of the more challenging enemy fights. And yeah, just it's a really cool, fun area, both traversal and fight-wise. Just like super fun. There's loads of really cool enemies, loads of like fun mechanics. All right, let's see if we can get this jerk. This is a wind elemental. So I was doing an animation cancel there on the magic. I didn't get it. My fault. Okay. Brilliant. That's fine. We'll get him now. Yeah, he's kind of mean. It is possible to get him the round before I did, but it's exceptionally tight. And yeah. Waiting for... So the gimmick of this area is the water's going upwards, and that's not what I did. As stated kind of previously, Ed is like allergic to water. Ooh, a little bit of movement mistakes there, that's not ideal. So yeah, so we've got to deactivate the water essentially with those triangles. And now we're going to see we've ran up and caught up with Avon. So there are two ways to do this fight. You can just fight him and get his health bar down, or you can just have a jolly old chat, which is the method I'm going to use because it's way quicker. Also has a much nicer cutscene afterwards. So if you actually fight him and kill him, well, deplete his health bar, Edda tries to like finish him off there rather than him just being like friendly. And Edda's now being transported because the water started again, and we've got control of Avon. So this is why we haven't actually used any of those ability points yet that we've gained from defeating the enemies, because we were saving them for Avon. Avon's going to be our main fighter. His combat, he's got a bit of a better repertoire compared to Edda, because the game sort of assumes that you've got certain abilities at this point in the game, like the ice spell, and will give you Avon's immediate counterpart, so which is really helpful. I'm gonna get some abilities. So we're basically giving him some techniques, which are special abilities you charge up and fight. Hey, Dead Sonic. And also a couple of other little techniques. So the blue ones I'm getting are called assimilation. If Avon defends against attacks for takes a number of hits, it will charge an ability that will basically reflect magic attacks back at the... That's a bit of a disappointment. Back at the user, which can be really useful in a couple of fights. This is going to be a bit dicey. Or not. It's just going to give me a perfect pattern. That could not have gone any better. Round one absorption and a really easy pattern, which is absolutely superb. Like really, really superb. So now we've caught up to Edda, and we've sort of accepted each other. So our acceptance is causing the map to expand further and unlock the bosses, the big bosses of the game, the transcended bosses. So like Summon the Green Dragon, these are essentially green bosses. That's their orb colour on the map. So you can see them glow in there. That's where we've got to go. We've got to defeat those 3 bosses. And now we have the ability to switch, which obviously lends to some really nice movement. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, we're just gonna get out of this area now. See if I can get the cool graphical glitch. So there's a cool graphical glitch you can do in the next bit. There's like a cutscene that's about to trigger. If I time a switch right... Nah, too early. It's fine. I kind of want Eden. Avon, oh my word, I can't do English, to come in. So if you do the glitch right, you'd have 2 Avons here. It's kind of weird. It's very rare, but if it happens, it looks kind of funny. So basically, old ones like, oh, you've transcended. You know, they're coming for you now. You need to like be prepared. So we're gonna go to bipolar. So we're going back to the green area. So the first transcended boss is at the top of the green area. It's called bipolar, or duality. Some people call it duality. I just go off what the trophy said it was called, so that's what mine. Oh, I slipped down there. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's fine. We didn't. That's the main thing. So we used to do this area second. I'll say we. I used to do this area second, and then I figured out something that hopefully works out nice. That's fine. That's lovely. Okay. Nice. 2 rounds is always good for that fight. So we're just gonna go up here. This is actually the back door into the boss. In the current patch of the game, this is unfortunately been patched out, but right now it's still patched in, so we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to get some abilities for Edda. This is just to make a little bit quicker on the uptake, just to enable to do some damage and do some absorption, which is super nice. Ooh, didn't switch. So here we go. That's fine. And that's lovely. We want to see thunder, obviously. So this is one of the fights where ice could potentially be a bit of a detriment, but it's not necessarily. That was not a great start, but... Okay, perfect. Please, please, please give me the magic. No. Why would you give me magic if I have an absorb an adult? Okay. That's fine. Oh, I didn't know that, Magma Man. Thanks. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to try and work that out a bit better then. Although that absolutely makes sense considering that boss is, I do, now I know. I'm going to have to try and work that a bit better. I didn't know that was actually what triggered it. That's kind of neat. Thank you. All right, I want to go left. All right. So now we're going to do the worst boss in the run. Well, not even the worst boss, just full stop the worst enemy. So, you know how Super Metroid has Phantoon? And that's their RNG boss that just ruins runs. This run's Phantoon. Yeah, it is absolutely the Gamba time. So Adaptation is the next boss. And I mentioned earlier that we didn't get the ice ability. And this is the reason why it's risky. So Adaptation starts with 2 elemental shields and a physical shield. But the elemental shields are completely random. And they can be an ability you don't have. So if he starts giving me a bunch of ice shields, it's going to be Sad Panda time, quite frankly. So hopefully he'll play nice. So the reason we now go bipolar first, or at least I do, is because we want the green orb ability from adaptation, for adaptation. Because there's a really cool ability, and it looks absolutely freaking awesome for the record, called United Division. I didn't think I had that. Oh, that's tight. Basically, it requires both of your characters to have a technique charged. Basically does massive shield damage, which okay, so but it does not fully kill the shield, so you have to have some elemental damage to the shields, which if you don't have ice, you can't do. So it's a little bit risky. But if he plays ball, it should be over pretty quickly. But that is obviously if he plays ball. Green waterfalls and look up. Alright, do not forget to do the bow techniques. There's our United Division. And we need Edda's bow techniques, which we picked up earlier, which is very similar to the whip we've been using for the Haven, the darker character. And that is perfect. That's literally perfect. Doesn't matter if you take damage. Okay. So that's our United. Okay, please play nice, please play nice. He's been playing very nice tonight. Okay. Are you kidding me? My buttons weren't working? Oh, that's so annoying. Like, there's something wrong with my controller. The buttons aren't working. Oh, that's so annoying. That's not unluckiness. That's shitty controllers. Like, the buttons weren't registering. I was hitting circle, wasn't registering. Oh, that was such a good run as well. That's so depressing. Right, give me a sec. I need to just send a quick message. That's annoying. Right, if I'm doing this, I need to do it now. Like, that's happened so much. So there's something wrong with my controller. Like, I'm hitting the buttons and it's not doing anything, not registering at all. That's really annoying. All right, let's go again. Quickly. I'm going to do a bit more commentary. So if I'm being ignorant, it's because I'm trying to do commentary and it's not that I don't notice you. Okay, ready to go in 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, let's go Worldless. Let's go. We got this. Okay, so welcome to Worldless. As you can see, this is a 2D platformer in the vein of a Metroidvania created by the lovely No Name Studio and Coatsink, who are from Spain and are super lovely. Shout out to them and their community manager, Esther, who's very, very active with the community in the Worldless Discord. So, just give a quick background lore. We've basically just encountered a big bang of some description. And in that big bang, 2 different factions of beings have been created. The blue and white beings, like ourselves, and the orange and black beings that you can see sort of fighting them in the background. So we're playing, our character's name is Edda, and she's basically a shield maiden. She's really cool. Yeah, it would be super lovely if Esther could come on couch. I did, like, the last time we submitted, they did ask if there was anything they could do, and I just said if someone could come in if it gets accepted, that'd be super lovely. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. So this is the first fight. So this game has turn-based combat as its sort of fighting mechanic rather than like going along just kicking enemies' butts. So it's kind of cool. It's a bit unique. So we're just letting our counterpart over there, who's called Avon, kick our backside. And he's trying to fill that bar in the bottom left corner, which is our absorption bar. He's just trying to absorb us. This is kind of a scripted fight. You can't beat Avon, I don't think. So obviously he's just tried to absorb us and gain our power. And we kind of fused instead, and it's gone a bit crazy. This fusion sort of caused like another mini Big Bang to happen, and we're basically creating the game world because of what's happened to us, which is really cool. So here's our game world. As you can see, there's a few, like 6 different branches. They all have their own color schemes, their own themes, like sort of vibe essentially. Like this game's very stylized. It's very beautiful. Like a lot of like thought went into the art direction, and it really shows. And it is absolutely stunning. So here we've encountered. This is a cutscene, and we're talking to one of the old ones who've been here since before the Big Bang that happened. And he's basically teaching us about how to interact with the world. He's a little bit jealous that we've done what we've done, and that the beings that sort of created the Big Bang have sort of took notice. But yeah, he's basically also just saying we're all silly, foolish young people and blah blah blah, doing your young people things kind of thing. But yeah, so basically, so this is now going to get our goal, which is we need to find Avon, our counterpart. So that's what we're going to do. We're going Avon hunting. You also might have noticed that the language is in Chinese, and I am very clearly not speaking Chinese. This is because, like in a lot of games, Chinese and Japanese is a faster language, which is great for speedrunning, but not great if you don't really understand abilities and understand the language and you're trying to remember what abilities what. That I tend to do that because I'm a bit of an old person. My memory's not what it used to be. I've got the jump. So yeah. So this is the blue area. It's just the first sort of proper hub area. So this is the first sort of tutorial enemy, like the proper tutorial. So it's teaching us about physical guards. So as you can see, when it's attacking, I'm blocking essentially. So that's what Edda's defense ability is. She has shield. That's a great start. Lovely, lovely. So yeah, she has a shield that can block both physical and magical attacks. Each of the attacks is denoted by a type of line. So a horizontal line is a physical attack, and as we're about to see with the next enemy, a vertical line is a magical attack. So there is a lot going on in the battles. It's not just hack away. Also, there is a timing element to this game. It wants you to time your hit to get more absorption and damage out of it. So that spinny sort of spin slash I'm doing, I only get that if I time my hits right. Otherwise, it just gives you like a third, just sort of standard slash. So we want to be doing them as much as possible because they do extra absorption damage, which is what we want to basically capture the enemies and gain the skill points. So yeah, each of the enemies gives the skill points. There are obviously blue enemies and orange enemies. Each one corresponds to a specific coloured skill point on your ability tree. We're getting our very first ability now, which is the dash, which is really useful early on. So as you can see, it's vertical and horizontal movement. So essentially a kind of double jump, but not quite a double jump. But really, really useful for going over like hits and stuff. Okay, let's do this scary jump. Oh, that jump's so scary. I really hate that jump. So if you mess that jump up, it's very possible to just fall straight down right to the bottom again, and it's a heck of a climb back up. So obviously you don't want to do that. But it's a little bit quicker than going the regular route round using the glowy balls to open the platforms. So as you see, we're just going to dash along. Just trying to get through this section as much as possible. So as you can see, not all the enemies are fights. Some of them are just literally littered around the ground. And there is a little bit of a cooldown on the dash that you have to be aware of, because it can catch you out. So, you know, I've just got a pickup of some description. So that is an extra, I think it's like a second of time in fights, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it basically makes every enemy in the game doable, at least in any percent. There's one or two that it's just too much for. Like there's a couple of enemies later on in 100% that require a good chunk of time to do what you need to do to capture them, essentially. But I don't want to spoil stuff without. I'll elaborate a bit more later when we've gotten a little bit more into the plot, essentially. So we're in the green area. I call this area Green Path. Okay, let's see how we do. Triangle. It's triangle. It's triangle. Oh, that's not great. Push the wrong button. So yeah, all the inputs in the game are random. There is nothing predetermined, which would obviously make my life a lot easier. So yeah, sometimes you just don't quite get it, unfortunately. It does happen. So yeah, the gimmick of this area obviously is these keystones that make portals appear. And yeah, we're just going to try and skip as much of it as we can. So the game wants us to go up there, but we're not gonna. I need to test something after this. Okay, that was a good bit of traversal. So this enemy is the fire elemental, which, as its name suggests, uses fire magic. And he can be quite tricky. So when we didn't go up just a minute ago, we skipped an ability, which is ice. As you can see, this gentleman has an ice shield. Nice, got one round there. So yeah, skipping ice can be problematic, potentially. It is very much a potentially. But again, that's sort of something I'll get to a little bit later. So just taking a little skip there, not waiting around for the portals, taking us around the long way. Nice, okay. So yeah. There are a couple of enemies that have the ice shield. Like I said, one of them is exceptionally problematic. But potentially not. So, got our second movement ability, which is the sprint, which, as the name suggests, is really, really fast. It is Edda's fastest form of movement and allows her to go over water. So Edda's kind of allergic to water and she doesn't like going in it. So this allows us to traverse any areas that have water, essentially. So again, we're just sort of chasing our friend, or well, our counterpart, should we say. And there's one last fight in this area that is technically a cutscene fight, but there is a way to make it trigger a little bit faster. Okay, looks like I got it. So we used to have to wait an extra round on this until we figured out how to make this bit of the cutscene trigger faster. So that saves us like 10 to 12 seconds, which is quite a lot. I think it's more like 10, but yeah. There we go. Okay, capture our friend. So we're just going to run straight through now. So the whole map is actually interconnected. So you can get to many different areas through like this area, the brown area, the tower, is connected to pretty much most of the areas. But it's the way it's connected is not viable for an any percent run. But it's a real pity because it is like the coolest area in the game. I got my dash charge, that's fine. It's got some of the best enemies and the coolest power-ups. There we go, lovely, that's a great start. Here we got it. Nice, got a 1 round. That's brilliant. That enemy is very, very difficult to get on that particular round. The windy shield he put up against himself not only does physical damage, but if it hits you, it reduces the absorption meter like massively. So you really have to time the hit. So I was also doing slightly speedrunny tech. So I can't remember who exactly it was in the community who found it, but you can basically animation cancel your magic so you can spam it really quickly. Which in that fight's really useful because that enemy is weak to thunder, which is Edda's main element. So you can just spam the thunder and get his absorption up really, really quickly. So course up to Avon. So the 2 ways to do this fight. We can do aggression or pacifist. Now, aggression is a lot slower, so we're going to take the pacifist route. But if you do go with the aggressive route, this cutscene's actually a little bit different. So if you take out Avon, Edda actually tries to hit him with his sword and kill him. So, Edda's now disappeared, and we have control of our second protagonist. I mean, I kind of feel like it was obvious, but at the same time, it wasn't. So yeah, Avon's the second protagonist and the secondary protagonist in this game. Well, actually, dual main protagonist. And he's the reason we haven't used any of our ability points yet. We are going to pimp him out very shortly because he's the best fighter. So the game sort of expects you to have certain abilities at this point, like ice and Edda's second weapon, which is a bow. So it gives you Avon's counterpart, which is super, super useful, especially in regards to his equivalent to the bow, which is the whip, which is ridiculously powerful and does massive absorption damage, as does his whip technique, which makes fights a lot easier. We're also getting a couple other things. So the orange ability I got below these blue ones is called Deflect, and it allows you to deflect absorption damage back at enemies on your defensive turn, which is really useful. I was pushing the buttons and it did not work. Oh well, is what it is. And there's his whip. So yeah, there we go. Not the best, but it's fine, it'll do. Okay, so course up to Edda. That was a very solid section. So now we are meeting up with Edda. Another little cutscene happens. So we've sort of accepted what happened to us and are joining in camaraderie, essentially. So that's allowed us to sort of transcend a bit further, which is therefore making the map expand a bit further. So it's now unlocking the transcended bosses, which are denoted by green orbs, which you'll see glowing and blinking in a minute. There's 3 of them. These are the sort of final-ish protagonists of the antagonists. So these are who we've got to go beat to finish the game, essentially. So now we've got control of both characters, which allows some very nice movement. Cool. There you can see deflect in action. There we go. That should be a full bar. Yep. So if you manage to get the bar completely full, it will just automatically absorb without any inputs needed, which is really useful. But there's only a small handful of enemies you can actually do it on in any percent, with being fast kind of thing. Oops, a little bit of a not jump there. That's not great. Okay, so we're going to go beat the first transcended boss. So it used to be that we'd do this boss second, not first. The reason for that is, I mean, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I kind of figured out a way to make the second boss that we go to considerably faster, but also considerably more risky. So it's one of them, a kind of risk-reward kind of thing. So we're going to go up and fight Bipolar, who's also known as Duality. He's a tricky boss because he has 2 different distinct forms. He has a dark form and a light form, like ourselves and Avon sort of combining. All the transcended bosses have a dark and a light side, so they are very like us. Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was doing. Not good. And Bipolar is by far the least pain one to deal with first. When I start. Okay, that's our holy bat. Okay, lovely. Great fight. Also, the game kind of wants you to go a slightly different path up to this boss, but we're kind of taking the back door in. Unfortunately, in the most recent patches of this game, this sort of backdoor has been patched out, which is kind of sad. But obviously, there is a sort of beta version that Coatsink have very kindly left on Steam for speedrun purposes. So that's super duper awesome. So I'm just going to quickly give Edda some power-ups, just because it makes parts of the fight a little bit quicker and gives me potential to break some shields a bit easier. Okay, so this is Bipolar. So unfortunately, he's given us the ice shield, which isn't ideal, but it's not detrimental. Gonna risk it. Okay. Oh my god. What a bipolar. Gold split. Let's go. So the absorption things on the green bosses is huge. You've got to have a massive amount to see any input. And I just got exceptionally lucky. I am not even denying that I just got really lucky. So that was really good. Okay, time for the worst boss in the game. So the next boss is adaptation. And the easiest way I can describe him is that he is the Fantoon of this game. So anyone who knows like speedrunning in general is a fan, or even has played Super Metroid, Fantoon is a massive pain in the backside. He's RNG personified, and adaptation is very much in the same vein. So I said earlier that we skipped the ice ability. This is where it really comes into play potentially. Adaptation opens up with 2 different elemental shields and a physical shield, and the elemental shields are completely random, and they can be ice. So if we hit an ice, it's an instant time loss. If we don't hit ice, it's really lovely. Get down there, even. So yeah, it is very much RNG personified. So hopefully he'll play nice. But before that, we've got to go get one last ability. Movement ability for Avon. Which is Snatch. Which I also call Eagle Shot because I'm a bit of a nerd. So the little orange dots that we've seen around, this is what uses them. So as you can see, it's very similar to Bash from Ori or Eagle Shot from Guacamelee 2. Sort of just fires you up in the air and got that. So yeah, it makes the traversal of the green area we're in before a little bit quicker, but it's not really huge. Okay. I'm just going to focus for a second because I tend to have some dash issues on this because it always seems to go wrong for me. There we go, fine. Okay, so last bit of shopping. We're going to get our special ability that deals with adaptation, which is called Unified Division. And it's basically a big sword that breaks shields. But it doesn't fully break them, so you need to do a little bit of damage. And that is beautiful. Okay, we're fine. Okay, please work. Okay, this is where it's going to get dicey. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Actually, I'm going to do something very quick. I'm going to have to get this ability anyway, so I'm just going to do it now. Okay. So, like I said, Ed is allergic to water. There are a few places we can exploit that, and that's one of them. It just spawns you on the land to the right rather than sending you miles back to the left, which would normally what it would be doing. Okay, so we're doing good. We're going into the final area, the storm grey area. So here's hoping we can have a good grey area. So the ability I just got is called Assist, and it basically allows your partner to come in and do a little bit of damage once a turn, which is especially useful on this fight. Nice, very nice. So now we're coming to my favourite fight in the game. This is Halo, and this is the skill check of this game. So this is the have you been paying attention? That's really good. That's really good. It's an excellent phase one. Yeah, not be stupid. Whew. Okay, we got it next turn. Okay, and we got it. Nice, that's a really good Halo. That was a really, really good Halo. So casually, that is very much a skill check for players, because you can actually access it as soon as you get sprint. And you might not be expecting a multi-phase fight. And it is a very tricky fight. Once you learn his attack, it's not too bad. But yeah. Also, I've just done the only sort of known glitch in the game, which is the Dark Grotto glitch. Basically, this area is meant to be completely shrouded in darkness. Okay. But yeah, by doing that, you skip the darkness trigger. That was a fail. So I'm a little bit lower than I would like to be here. That's fine. Get it next turn. That's fine. Okay. Okay, that's fine. A little bit slower than I would have liked, but not the worst. Okay. Cool. So we're just sort of running up this area, getting to the last boss, which is called Yin Yang. Knew I hadn't made it. That jump is pretty tricky. Knew I hadn't made it again. Oh my god, why am I doing this fail on this now? That was better. Right, fine, we're just going the normal way. Wow, I haven't failed that badly in a while. Oh well, is what it is. Okay, so just doing a last little bit of shopping. So to take on Yin Yang, we need a specific setup, as you've probably guessed by now. Get that as a backup. So both of them need to have 2 chargeable techniques. And we both have to have our ability to sort of deflect stuff. So both Edda and Avon have an ability to deflect. Okay, so Edda has got hers. Okay. Cool, we good. Fine. All right, that's really, really good. Wait. Wait, oh my god, this actually beats my PB. Oh my god. Like, this is the new route PB. That doesn't actually match my old route PB. This actually beats it. This is a 43. I haven't got a 43 yet. I mean, it might still be third place, but I'm going to take it. So for some reason, Edda doesn't have her sprint in this area. So we're just going to use Avon to go quickly, as fast as we can with double jump, because it's faster than walking. So this is the final encounter. So it's technically a boss, but not technically a boss. You literally can't do anything to hurt it. You've just got to sort of let the cutscene play out. So yeah. So unless someone has any objections, I'm going to for Shiny Avon. So all you can do to interact with it basically is talk to it. As you can see, its absorption bar is infinite. Therefore, you can do nothing to get it. Unless it wants you to. There is literally no point, and fighting slows down this cutscene. Especially in a little bit. But you'll see that in a minute. I did text you, I did tell you. It was worth it. That's a proper PB as well. That beats my old best time, like on my other route. It still might be fair, but I'm not 100%. Either way, it's a lot closer than it was. So yeah, there's literally nothing you can do on this part of the fight. So yeah, if you try and fight when those like bits of the map are being destroyed, you use an ability that was in those sections. You basically do a stun animation and it just slows the whole thing down. Okay, so poor Edda's been speared. Poor Edda. So basically, that boss is called the Worldless. He's basically given us the power to create our own universe, which is now seen in our beautiful sparkly form, because we love sparkly forms. I think you might have to, Magma. Yeah, I'm catching you up. And there was some definite mistakes in that one. I am very happy with that. Like, you can't complain. PB on the new route version beats my old route by 30 seconds, maybe 32. So, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a really, really solid time. I'm super happy with that. Like, and the amount of gold as well. Like, that's going to be hard to beat. I know that there's still time to shave. There's a couple of fights that need optimizing. And unfortunately, it feels like we're getting to the point now where I'm going to have to try and figure out fire elemental skip. But yeah, super happy with that. Absolute new personal best. Smashed my personal best. So that's really good. Super duper duper. So yeah, this would. So Magma, obviously we've been talking about it in the Discord today. How do you feel about setting up a restricted FPS category versus an unrestricted FPS category? Sort of differentiating them just so there is a way for people to have that access if they haven't necessarily got a great computer. So yeah, I am gonna go because Bagel has very kindly just brought me some food in. But yeah, let's definitely save that because that's brilliant. I'm just gonna Alt F4 this out, and yeah, I'm just gonna call it there. Have a great night, everyone. Yeah, let's hope we can do better. And yeah, I mean, it adds up to about 15 seconds over the run, which isn't over a 45-minute run. That's not huge, but it is something. Yeah, in Super Metroid or something. Yeah, 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 and optimized. Yeah, I think Bagel's right. He's saying that if you couldn't hear him, he was saying at the moment this game isn't fully optimized. It's getting there. There's some really good movement and stuff, but once it's fully optimized, something like that will be important. Since we're not at that point yet, I think it's okay to leave as is. But when it starts getting to the point where it is getting to the, you think okay. Well, we'll get into the Discord and have a bit more of a discussion about it and see what everybody else's feelings are. I mean, for stuff like the really short sort of the treetops section run, I think there it could be unrestricted versus restricted because if that saves fractions of seconds, it is literally down to like milliseconds now. I think that is something that might need to be addressed. So, but yeah, we'll get into it. We'll have a big discussion about it. Like I said, it's I wanted it to be fair. Like my computer can run unlimited frame rate. I'm really lucky that my computer is good enough to do that. But I know that's not the case for everybody, and I want it to be a yeah, yeah, true, yeah. Like my computer can run like it at unlimited, which admittedly might not be a high unlimited, but it can run an unlimited. It just depends on the computer. But yeah, okay, it's something we need to talk about more. Definitely. I don't think, but not everybody can get 120. That's the thing. Okay. Yeah. 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 No, I can't throw 4090. Most of my runs are at 120. That's what I've been using. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Yeah, put a cap it. Yeah, I think the cap should be there then. Okay. The 120 cap, I think, fair because the current. No, I think because the current world record's at 120 as well, and it's stated at 120. So it's like, it feels kind of, you've got to accommodate the fact that that's the thing and it's already been done. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. But yeah, we'll chat it out and we'll figure it out. I think the cap might be the better thing. Not yeah, I think 120 might be the best cap because there's a little bit. Yeah, yeah, because of I've got a big, good, powerful graphics card. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, I will see you. What day are we on? Tuesday, Thursday. We're gonna do a couple more runs. Hopefully, get a commentary run for submission. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I will put a pin up when I'm doing a commentary, trying to run commentary record. But yeah, have a good evening. I'll see you around. Bye.